My name is Sage Carter, and for 33 years, I've been the scapegoat in a family that worshipped my older brother, Lucas. He was the golden child, polished, ambitious, the son my parents flaunted to their upscale Portland elite. I was the one they blamed, ignored, and pushed aside, my existence a blemish on their perfect facade. This is the story of what happened when I finally refused to be their punching bag, a decision that uncovered a devastating family secret, led me to fight for my cousin's son, Noah, and helped me build a new family from the ashes of the one that never truly loved me. I grew up in a sleek, modern house in Portland's West Hills, where glass walls and minimalist decor screamed wealth and control. My parents, Michael and Diane, were fixtures in their high society circle. My father, a real estate mogul. My mother, a socialite who chaired environmental galas for clout, not conviction. They curated a perfect image, and Lucas was their star. At 18, when I was 16, he was already a golden boy, varsity soccer captain, pre-law prodigy, with a charm that won over everyone. His trophies lined the shelves, his photos filled the walls, and every conversation revolved around his latest triumph. I was different. Genderqueer with a shaved head, thrifted flannels, and a fierce idealism that clashed with their polished world. I'd known since I was 13 that I didn't fit their binary mold, but when I came out at 15, my mother called it a phase, and my father said, "Don't embarrass us." "Why can't you be more like Lucas?" my mother would snap when I skipped their fundraisers or questioned their hypocrisy. I was never enough. Too loud, too strange, too me. The favoritism was relentless. Lucas got private tutors, a sports car, and summer internships at my father's firm. I got secondhand books, endless chores, and lectures about disappointing the family. If Lucas broke curfew, it was boys being boys. If I did, it was rebellion. He knew he was the favorite and used it like a weapon. In private, he'd taunt me, calling me the weirdo or the loser. In front of our parents, he was all charm, and they'd laugh off his cruelty as sibling banter. It wasn't banter. It was a constant reminder that I was less. High school was my refuge. I joined the environmental club, organized protests against local polluters, and wrote op-eds for the school paper. I wasn't Lucas's kind of star, but I was driven. I won a National Activism Award and earned a scholarship to Reed College. When I told my parents, hoping for a spark of pride, my mother said, "That's nice, Sage, but Lucas is applying to Stanford Law. That's our priority." My father didn't even look up from his phone. I left for college with a backpack and a vow to prove them wrong. Reed College was my salvation. I was Sage, not Lucas's sibling, not the family failure. I majored in environmental studies, interned with a grassroots climate organization, and found a community that embraced my identity. I started therapy to unpack the PTSD and anxiety from my childhood. Panic attacks triggered by my parents' rejection, nightmares of Lucas's taunts. My therapist, Dr. Nguyen, helped me name the trauma: narcissistic parenting, scapegoating, emotional neglect. I graduated with honors and landed a job as a community organizer in Portland, leading campaigns to protect Oregon's forests. My apartment in the Alberta Arts District was a cluttered haven of protest signs and plant clippings, but it was mine. Lucas, meanwhile, had faltered. After Stanford Law, he joined a corporate firm but got caught in a scandal involving shady real estate deals. My parents bailed him out, paying for lawyers and spinning the story to their friends as a misunderstanding. They bought him a condo, funded his consulting business, and bragged about his resilience. When I visited home for holidays, they'd talk endlessly about Lucas's next venture, ignoring my campaigns that saved thousands of acres. It stung, but I'd built a life where their approval wasn't the goal. The secret came to light when I was 32, during a rare family gala at our West Hills house. Lucas was there with his fiancée, Olivia, a PR consultant with a fake laugh, and my cousin Rachel's son, Noah. Rachel, the only family member who'd ever seen me for me, had died 2 years earlier in a car accident. Her ex-husband Ethan had custody of Noah, but he was unreliable, often ghosting my texts. I'd tried to stay in Noah's life, sending books and visiting when I could, but Ethan made it difficult. At the gala, Lucas was his usual charismatic self, charming the guests with tales of his latest deal. But Noah was quiet, his brown eyes fixed on the floor, his hands fidgeting with a toy dinosaur. I noticed a bruise on his arm, faint but unmistakable. When I asked him about it, he whispered, "I fell." Lucas quickly changed the subject, but my activist instincts, honed from years of uncovering systemic abuses, told me something was wrong. Later that night, I took Noah to the house's rooftop deck. The Portland skyline glittered against the night sky. The air smelled of cedar and rain, a Pacific Northwest signature. "Noah," I said gently, "is everything okay with Ethan?" He hesitated, then whispered, "He's always mad. Lucas stays with us sometimes, says he's helping, but he just ignores me or yells." My heart stopped. Lucas was involved with Noah's care? Why hadn't anyone told me? I confronted my parents the next morning in their study, a sleek room of oak and leather that smelled of coffee and old books. My mother was arranging files, her movements precise, while my father read contracts. "Why is Lucas staying with Ethan?" I demanded. My mother froze, her pen trembling. "He's just helping out," she said, avoiding my eyes. My father snapped, "It's not your business, Sage. You're always stirring trouble." But I pressed, and finally, my mother admitted the truth. Ethan had been struggling with addiction and anger issues, and Lucas had been supervising Noah for months, funded by my parents. They hadn't told me because they thought I'd make a scene. I was floored. Rachel's son, the boy she'd loved with her whole heart, was in Lucas's hands. My parents had chosen their golden child over Noah's safety, keeping it from me to protect their perfect image. That's when I decided I was done being their punching bag, done absorbing their blame, done staying silent. I refused to let them erase me or Noah. I drove to Ethan's apartment that afternoon, a rundown complex in East Portland. The place reeked of stale beer, with trash bags piled in corners and dishes rotting in the sink. Lucas was there, scrolling through his phone, while Noah sat alone playing with his dinosaur. "What are you doing here, Sage?" Lucas asked, his voice dripping with disdain. "Come to play hero again?" "I'm here for Noah," I said, my voice steady despite the rage inside. "This isn't okay, Lucas. He's not safe here." He laughed, a cold, familiar sound. "You think you're better than me? You're not his parent. I've got this under control." But I saw the fear in Noah's eyes, the way he clutched his toy like a shield. He wasn't under control. He was invisible, just like I'd been. That night, I called Child Protective Services, CPS, reporting suspected neglect. The caseworker, Jamal, interviewed Noah and confirmed my fears. Ethan's addiction had escalated, and Lucas was barely present, often leaving Noah alone or snapping at him to toughen up. CPS placed Noah in temporary foster care, and I filed for emergency custody. As an activist, I'd fought for vulnerable communities, but this was personal. I knew the system's flaws, overworked caseworkers, biased judges, but I couldn't let Noah stay in that environment. Lucas was livid. He called me, screaming, "You're trying to destroy my life. Mom and Dad trusted me, not you." I hung up, my hands shaking, the PTSD triggering a wave of panic. His words echoed my father's from years ago. "You're always stirring trouble." Refusing to be their punching bag meant facing their wrath, but I was ready. I threw myself into the custody battle, using my organizing skills to build a case. I documented everything: photos of Ethan's apartment, texts from Lucas dismissing Noah's needs, medical reports noting his bruises. I leaned on Dr. Nguyen, who helped me manage the anxiety attacks that hit like waves. I was fighting for Noah, but also for the kid I'd been, the one nobody had defended. My parents took Lucas's side, as always. They called me ungrateful, accused me of tearing the family apart. "Lucas is trying his best," my mother said. "You've always been jealous of him, Sage." My father refused to speak to me. Their words stung, but I was done seeking their approval. Noah was my priority now, and I wouldn't let him down. The custody battle was brutal. Ethan, backed by my parents' money, hired a top-tier lawyer who painted me as an unstable radical with no parenting experience. Lucas testified that he'd been selflessly caring for Noah, claiming I was motivated by jealousy. My parents took the stand, saying I'd always been defiant and unstable, twisting my PTSD into evidence of unfitness. I fought back with evidence: photos of Ethan's apartment, CPS reports, text messages from Lucas telling Noah to stop whining. I called character witnesses: my nonprofit director who praised my advocacy, my therapist who testified to my recovery, and Rachel's best friend who confirmed Rachel would have wanted me to protect Noah. Most importantly, I had Noah's voice. In a closed session, he described Ethan's rages and Lucas's neglect, his voice trembling but clear. His drawings, dark sketches of a house filled with yelling, broke my heart and swayed the judge. The turning point came when I uncovered Lucas's financial deception. I'd used my activist contacts to dig into his finances, finding bank records showing my parents had sent him thousands for Noah's care. But his social media showed luxury watches, designer suits, and trips to Seattle. When I presented this in court, Lucas's charm cracked. He stammered, claiming the money was for family needs, but the judge wasn't buying it. The judge granted me temporary custody with a plan for permanent guardianship if Ethan and Lucas didn't meet CPS requirements. Noah moved into my Alberta Arts apartment, and for the first time, I saw him smile. A real, unguarded smile. Life with Noah was a whirlwind. I turned my spare room into a space for him, with bunk beds, a desk, and shelves for his books and toys. He was wary at first, scared to trust, but we built a routine: school, therapy, community garden projects. Noah loved plants, his small hands tending seedlings with care. My PTSD flared, panic attacks at night, fears of failing him, but Dr. Nguyen helped me stay grounded. I kept my job, leading campaigns to protect Oregon's watersheds. My colleagues became my support system, helping with Noah's school pickups when I was at protests. Lucas and Ethan faded from our lives. Ethan failed his drug tests, and Lucas lost interest in the parenting classes. My parents tried to guilt me into reconciling, but I set boundaries, refusing to let their toxicity back in. Over the years, Noah blossomed. He joined the school's environmental club, his passion for conservation mirroring mine. We built traditions: Friday pizza nights, Saturday hikes in Forest Park, holiday gardening sessions where soil ended up everywhere. One day he called me sage, then paused and said, "You're like my parent." I hugged him tight, my heart full. My career soared. I led a coalition that saved a local river from industrial runoff, earning national recognition. I started a podcast about surviving toxic families, connecting with listeners who'd faced similar struggles. My chosen family, friends, colleagues, Noah's teachers, became my anchor. My parents softened over time, sending occasional emails, but I kept my distance. Lucas moved to San Diego, chasing another scheme, and I let him go. At Noah's high school environmental fair, I watched him present a project on urban gardening, his voice strong and clear. He dedicated it to me, saying, "Sage showed me how to grow, even in hard places." I hugged him, tears in my eyes, knowing I'd given him the safety I'd never had. Refusing to be my family's punching bag uncovered their lies and saved Noah. It shattered my illusions about their love, but it gave me a family and a life I'd never dared to dream of. I'm Sage Carter, activist, guardian, survivor, and I've built a home that loves without conditions.